So, welcome back to the Forged Not Born podcast. I have Chester with me today, the sleep scientist himself, the wizard of sleep. I'm gonna give you like a really big intro now, mate, and I make you seem like some kind of god. But we're gonna go through this now, and yeah, let's get into it, Chester. So, how did you get into bodybuilding? What you've done? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, good question. So I've always been into I've always been into fitness and sports. I've just never been that good at it. So like growing up as a kid, I was always sort of like into football and into rugby, but just like always got picked last and was never actually that good. I found the gym when I was playing rugby and found that that was the one thing that it only sort of came down to me, and I really liked that. And I saw the results, and from there seeing the results from the gym and getting your newbie gains and then like plateauing and then getting a coach and then seeing more improvements, it kind of like fell in love with the abilities of just self-improvement, and then the discipline that comes with that that comes to like building a business, progressing in work, like all areas. Like that discipline from the gym has sort of like shaped so many other areas for me. And currently I work as a sleep scientist in the NHS, and I'm also working as a coach. And I work as a coach to help people with sleep and performance. So I'm utilizing sleep as a performance lever to help people, perform better in the gym, but also perform better in work and ultimately just perform at the best versions of themselves.
Awesome, man. So before we get into the sleep stuff, which I'm really excited to get into because I know the power of it, and I know that you do because you do it as a passion. And a full-time job, right? So with yourself, when have you last competed? How did that go?
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So last competition was 2022, I believe. 2021 or 2022. I think it was 22. I competed in men's physique UK DFBA and I came fourth. It was junior men's physique. Now I've been on the road to build a lot of muscle so I can compete in classic. So that's like sort of where I'm looking to take things now. Um, Obviously just been in a gaining phase for a long period of time. Had a few cuts in between. I was prepping last year, but I ended up stopping due to like some blood markers that came back. So I just went into more of an off season. Then future, I'll probably prep again at like 2027 or something like that, I reckon.
Interesting. What were the blood markers, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so it was my kidney markers. They were a little bit elevated. So it was like nothing major, but it was enough for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'd rather not like push my body any further. Um, so yeah, me and my coach just decided like let's not. And then I was like probably 6 weeks out. Um, Decided like to not and then just go into a gaining phase, then come back to it at a later date. So I've just been gaining since.
Interesting. Definitely wasn't just a little bit of extra creatine then, yeah.
3T plus.
Yeah, the people will hear that now and be like, "Oh, it was probably that creatine that did it." Like, no, it wasn't.
It's always the creatine, man.
Yeah, don't man. These people are mad throughout that. So, how was your experience first time competing?
It was good. My posing was shit. Um,
Everyone's posing his shit first time round, mate.
Awful. I felt quite nervous and it felt weird when I was on stage,
Mm.
but I feel like I displayed a good package and
Mm.
you know, I unlocked a level of discipline that I'd never really had before, or that I had, but not to that level, right? So it was really good experience for me to like do it and just do something hard and like learn how to tick X, Y, and Z box off for like however many weeks. I think it was like a 6 month prep in the end because I was fat at the start.
Mm.
Um, and just do that consistently and push yourself even when you don't want to be pushed. I think, yeah, putting yourself in hard situations like that is really good because you grow a lot from it. And even the prep that I've done that I didn't compete in, same thing. Like I learn a lot from it because you just put yourself in uncomfortable situations, then your body is like, or you're forced to adapt because I think you can put yourself through shit and understand like what you can actually take, which like most people don't do because like why would you? But obviously, a prep is a really good way to put yourself in that sort of situation, even if you don't have to.
Because most people are always trying to run from discomfort, right? They're trying to make things more comfortable, easier nowadays, not harder. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's just because of the abundance of like comfortable things in the world, you know. People want to always take the easy route and never do the hard thing because the hard thing is hard. Whereas I think that unless you do the hard thing, you'll never grow. You need to really put yourself out of your comfort zone to grow. And if you don't, then you're going to stay as you are for the rest of your life. And it does suck, but like you can't be like eating whatever the fuck you want whenever you want. You can't be like doing whatever the fuck you want when you want, especially like as a man, to be honest. Like you have to do the shit that you know you need to do, even if you don't want to do it, because like that's how you win. Um, like there are so many things I don't want to do, and I still do it because like I know I have to if I want to get to where I want to go. So I think that like today's modern age, like it really separates the people who really have a strong desire for what they want versus those who like it's like okay, it could be, it could not be. Like if you really want it bad enough, you'll do the work and you'll take the effort and you always make it. You always take the road that's hard, even if it is fucking hard, because you know that at the end of it, you actually get what you want, and that's way more rewarding than any short-term comfort.
Do you think that's an issue at the moment with a lot of guys, like a lack of clarity, desire, or purpose?
Yeah, man. Like it's just so many people. Stay up 1 a.m. gaming, wake up, go to work, come back, don't do anything, watch TV, sit on the couch, just repeat. You feel this may be a really controversial take. I feel like a lot of mental health issues stem from the fact where you don't have directional purpose. Because when you're just drifting and you never have something that you're actively putting your efforts into, you're then like you're not satisfying the inner need that you have to go and execute and go and like find a passion and like really put your all into it. You do a job that satisfies a paycheck so that you can live, but then the way you're living, like you're not getting satisfaction from it because, well, you are in short-term bursts from like doing the quick dopamine fixes, but then like long
Mm.
term, you're just like pissing away your life. And I feel like a lot of people will get to like 70 years old and like really regret how they've lived life because they never took that chance. You know, they never invested in that thing. They never, you know, tried that side hustle. They never built that business. They never build that physique they've always wanted. They never do it because they are scared. But the real, like, the only way you fail in anything, I believe, is if you just don't try. Like, if you give it your best, and even if it doesn't go that well, like, you still fucking won because you would have learned lessons, and the lessons that you apply from that will then apply into the next thing you do, and you'll be way more successful at it.
Yeah, some really good points there, Chester. Really good points. And I do agree that there are a lot of issues with guys at the moment that can be solved through having some structure, having some more discipline. The amount of people that I see nowadays struggling with anxiety, that is it genuinely a mental health issue, or is it that because you're staying up until 3 o'clock, smoking weed, drinking, eating crap dopamine hitting foods, and your body is just a mess. And this anxiety is a symptom of a much larger problem that you are thinking that that's the main problem, that I just have anxiety, not like I'm not working out, I don't drink enough water, my body is screaming at me and I'm not listening to it.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's quite a common thing, right? Like, for example, GPs and doctors will always like just prescribe antidepressants and like these medications, whereas like they don't look at anything else. They don't look at like, okay, how are you eating? What's your gut health like? How are you sleeping? All these things that like will massively impact your because your physical health impacts your mental health massively, like in either direction. So if like you're eating like crap, like and then like not sleeping at all, going to work, coming back, not doing that much, like you're obviously gonna have like poor mental health, right? Um, Obviously there are other factors that go into it, but like that can be the cause, like those things where they're not in good stead.
You're gonna feel like crap. Like you're not gonna feel good if you're doing all of that. Like I would be surprised if you did, and if you did, it's probably like just give it a couple of weeks and you probably won't like feel that good, because I know the difference between staying up at stupid levels of night, eating crap, all that, and like not sleeping well, not exercising, take care of myself, being 30, 40 kilos overweight, and then to where I am now. I know the difference, and energy, mood, clarity, and how I go about life is so substantially different, completely night and day. And again, testament to that, a massive part of my journey is bodybuilding because of that. You know, I got in shape for a bodybuilding show, and I'd done multiple ones before, and each time I've done one, I've leveled up.
Mm.
Definitely, man. Awesome, man. So let's get into your bread and butter, sleep. Where do we want to start with sleep, Chester?
Oh, there's a million and one ways we could go. Um,
Well, let's apply it to hypertrophy first and muscle building. So if you had a guy in front of you right now and we had to say, right, we want to get the most out of sleep because everyone loves to optimize. We want to get the most out of sleep. What would we do?
yeah, I mean, the first thing you do is actually like assess how you are sleeping, right? So, are you sleeping well? Are you sleeping poorly? Like, what's your sleep duration looking like? How much sleep are you actually getting? Because if you're in bed for 7 hours, you're not getting 7 hours sleep. People are often like, "Oh yeah, I go to bed at this time. I wake up at this time. I get 7 hours." Like, no, you don't. You're in bed for that time. You wake up at that time. Doesn't mean you're asleep for that time. So people often like think they sleep more than they do. And then wonder why they're groggy in the mornings, and then like don't have any motivation for the gym. They're actually not sleeping enough. So it's actually assessing like, okay, how are people's energy levels? What's their sleep like? From a data perspective, and then it's okay, you can go and like address the issue. Now, it's also then assessing if there is an issue of sleep, okay, what is the issue of sleep? Are you just not getting enough? Are you not spending enough time in bed? Are you spending a lot of time in bed, but then your sleep's interrupted, which is going to reduce your ability to get deep sleep and therefore reduce your ability to recover and build muscle? Is it a case of like it's just taking you an hour to fall asleep because you're slamming like 20 jelly babies before bed and then like, you're spiking your blood sugar and it's crashing and then you wake up? Or is it a case of, you're just lying in bed awake and then you can't go to because you're just so used to like associating your bed with the phone? So it's about like assessing, okay, where's sleep at? Why is it like that? And then what can you do going forwards to actually improve it?
What are some of the biggest problems you see? You mentioned a couple there, like late night eating habits, blue light on your phone. Are these some of the biggest things you see that are stopping people from getting good quality sleep and enough?
Yeah, a lot of it's like stimulation before bed. So yes, like the phone and TV, the blue light, although it is sort of detrimental to your signaling, right? So your eyes obviously send signals to your brain about what time of day it is. So if you signal to your eyes that there's a lot of light, then it's going to think it's daytime, right? So you're disrupting that signaling. But a lot of it's actually more the stimulation. So people are just like always wired and never actually getting time to relax. And then if you never get time to relax, the thoughts that you had in the day that you didn't deal with come back up, or your body is just like restless because you haven't actually allowed your body to come back down into a state of relaxation, which is what you need to promote sleepiness and therefore get sleep.
Mm. You touched on a couple of things there. Obviously, simple central nervous system, parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system there, and then circadian rhythm as well. So, explain to the guys and girls here the importance of those two.
Yeah, so circadian rhythm is one of your two signals or your systems that your body utilizes to sleep. Now, when you wake up, right, your eyes essentially have receptors in them and they send signals to your brain telling it what time of day it is. So if you have a influx of light, it's telling your body to release hormones to allow you to be alert and awake. Now, also on the flip side, if you have an absence of light or if it's dark, then you're essentially sending signals to your body and your brain that it can release sleepiness hormones and allow you to fall asleep, right? So when it comes to today's day and age, when we're in an age where we have like an abundance of artificial light, screens, lamps, bright lights, the main light, if they're always on in the evenings, then you're essentially like, you're not really giving your body the proper signal it needs in order to like wind down, feel sleepy, and therefore sleep. The same in the morning, right? So if you wake up and it's dark in your room and you just lay there for 30 minutes, an hour, you snooze, okay, then you're not really telling your body that it's time to get up and time to start the day because you're just like not giving it the signal it needs to start waking up. In terms of parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system activity, that's obviously like your fight or flight, sympathetic, and your rest and digest, your parasympathetic. when you want to sleep, you need to be in a state of parasympathetic or rest and digest. If you are stressed out, stimulated, and you haven't actually taken time to allow yourself to relax, then you have thoughts and you're getting frustrated that you can't sleep, you're keeping your body in a state of fight or flight, which doesn't actually allow you to sleep because you're trying hard to sleep or because you just haven't given your body enough time to relax. Sleep isn't something that we do or that we can force. It's not training. We don't get amped up for it. We have to be in a state of relaxation, which is only promoted when you allow your body to do so and you don't put so many inputs in your brain with like phones and screens and arguments that late night just stop your ability to actually get relaxed.
Or doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling's a big one.
Yeah, right. So, with all of that being said, like, what are you seeing as some of the most effective ways to make sure that those things don't happen?
Yeah, good question. So a consistent wake time is super important. So it helps you to accumulate sleep drive, which is the longer you're awake, the more tired you get, right? So if you keep a consistent wake time, by the time it gets to the evening, you're actually going to feel sleepy. So you're not going to like feel like really alert and energized at 9 p.m. because you're going to be tired because of the time that you've woken up. So keeping that consistent is really important. Now, also, just like as soon as you wake up, just get up. Like there is no point in snoozing. Um, it doesn't serve you at all. The best thing that you can do when you wake is just to get up and get light in your eyes. Now, another thing as well is that when you wake up, right, you want to be in alert and refreshed. You don't want to be groggy. So when people set alarms at like a specific time, like 6 o'clock, and then they wake up and they feel groggy, well, your body may not be ready to actually wake up. So I'm quite big on like either not setting alarms or setting alarms that wake you up in a window naturally, or like even if you wake up due to, there's these lamps that wake you up due to like light. But I use an alarm that's like a soft alarm that wakes me up in a 30-minute window based on when it thinks that I'm in my lighter stage of sleep, so that when I wake up, I'm actually not groggy, I'm awake and I'm alert. So therefore, I can actually get out of bed and do the task that I need to do rather than lie in bed. So that's a really big one, keeping your wake up time consistent and allowing yourself to wake up when you're in light sleep. Because if you wake up out of REM sleep, which happens in the second half of the night, a lot of it does. If you wake up out of that stage of sleep where your brain's trying to like consolidate memories and you're trying to like learn skills that you'll process skills that you learned in the day, if you wake up out of that stage of sleep, you're going to feel groggier. Whereas if you wake out of light sleep, you're going to feel more awake because the gap between light sleep and awake is a lot closer.
Some interesting points there. Interesting points. You were talking about obviously like REM sleep there and deep sleep. Like for the people that don't know too much about that, what are the different difference between the two there?
So light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So light sleep comprised of stage 1 and stage 2 sleep, and you can almost think of that as like your transition phase into deep sleep and REM sleep. So that's the transition phase. That's when when you feel like you're asleep, but then you're kind of awake and like you can kind of like you're not quite asleep yet. Well, that's light sleep. That's stage 1. Now, when you kind of like start drifting off a bit more, you get into stage 2, and that's when you start relaxing more, your brain starts unwinding, and then your body's preparing to get into deep sleep. Now, deep sleep happens, most of your deep sleep happens in the first half of the night, and that's the most important part really of sleep because that's the stuff that keeps you alive, allows your body to repair, allows your brain to flush out toxins that it's accumulated in the day or waste products that it's accumulated in the day, and keeps hormones and regulated and your organs healthy. So that's kind of like the overall process of deep sleep is about regulating your physical health and keeping your body in a healthy state, right? Keeping it responsive, keeping it metabolically healthy as well. Now, REM sleep is the stage of sleep where it's dream sleep, right? But that's the stage of sleep where you're able to regulate your emotions, where you are able to, if you've done a motor pattern in the day, right? So you've learned how to squat for the first time. Okay, you've learned the skill, but to actually like solidify that skill, you need to sleep to make sure that you can actually properly embed it into your brain. So you can almost think of it as like if you do a squat, like you've got the mold there, but unless you actually get enough REM sleep, the mold is like fading away. So it can only really stick if you get enough REM sleep. So all stages of sleep are important, but deep sleep's the stuff that keeps you alive, and REM sleep's the stuff that helps you process memories, learn skills, and be emotionally stable, basically.
Interesting, man. Very interesting stuff. So when we're looking at this applied to hypertrophy, building muscle, what are some of the scientific links? What are some of the things that we see happen if we don't get good sleep? And then obviously we'll go on to the flip side of that of what do we need to be doing to get good quality sleep to allow recovery and repair to be, I want to say use the word optimized, but like recovery to be in a good place to allow us to keep performance going in the right direction, keep building muscle.
Yeah, good question. So first off, it's going to be hormones, right? So hormonally, if you are sleep deprived, then your testosterone levels are going to be lower. So if you sleep 5 hours a night for a week, there was a study that showed this, testosterone levels reduced by 10 to 15%. Now that's sleep deprivation, right? But if you sleep 5, 6 hours a night every single week, every single month for 3, 6, 9 months, then your testosterone levels are going to be in the bin. So obviously your ability to recover and build muscle is going to be impaired, and actually how you feel and your energy levels and your drive to train hard in the gym is going to be worse. Also, hunger hormones. So if you're in a fat loss phase, but then you're not sleeping well, your leptin and your ghrelin are going to be dysregulated, which basically means you're going to get increased cravings and increased hunger where you usually wouldn't. So that's going to make it harder for your fat loss phase. As well, your ability to remain metabolically healthy, right? Like if you don't sleep enough, if you get poor quality sleep for a long period of time, you start getting, hypertension, so high blood pressure, you start becoming insulin resistant, so your fasting blood glucose creeps up. And all these things just make it so that your body's like less responsive. So you eat food, you try and build muscle, but you're less likely to utilize the food for fuel and actually utilize it as muscle, and you're way more likely to store it as fat because your body's not responsive. It's resistant because your organs aren't allowed to. You're not allowing your organs to like repair and perform the functions in the day. Like you can almost think about sleep as a reset, right? Obviously, in the day and throughout the day and like throughout weeks, like your body accumulates stress and fatigue. In order for you to actually drop off that fatigue and allow your body to respond and be at its most effective state, you need to be sleeping. Otherwise, you're just getting accumulations and accumulations of dysregulated hormones, high stress, and things like that that you're never allowing yourself to get rid of because that's what sleep does.
Mm. Fatigue management, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then also oxygenative stress, like you were talking about there, if that's increased, when we start feeling like niggles and injuries start coming around a little bit more, if you're not prioritizing that recovery, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So your ability to handle volume is less. So gain phase or cut, like you're going to be impaired because, you know, your capacity to handle volume and adapt to it is going to be reduced. Your actual ability to train and execute well is going to be worse because you've got less drive, and also your motor patterns are going to be impaired. So your ability to connect your mind to your muscles and move a squat in the exact movement pattern that you need to target a correct muscle rather than like tweaking and then like your lower back goes, like all of those things, right? So you can just think of it as like the number one supporting factor when it comes to your ability to adapt and recover from training. Yes, nutrition is great, but when you restore and when your hormones are actually regulated, it is during sleep. I think a lot of people put like a high amount of value in training and nutrition, but we don't really see anyone taking sleep as seriously as that when they should, because it's one of the most important things when it comes to actually recovering from stimulus. We all know that we don't grow in the gym, right? You need to train your fucking ass off in order to create stimulus to force your body to grow. But if you're not like then recovering from said stimulus and your hormones are dysregulated from sleep, you got low testosterone, you're pissing away gains. It's like filling up a jug, but having like big leaky holes in the jug. Like it's just coming straight back out. So you're just losing a lot of you're putting in so much work. Like don't let sleep be the reason that you're not adapting the way you want to, right?
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people neglect sleep and put all their energy into, shoveling food down them, killing themselves in the gym, but then not optimizing sleep properly even though me and you both know, and most people know in that coaches industry that sleep is that foundation. Why do you think most people don't know about this or are neglecting it?
I think there's a few different reasons. I think one of them is awareness. So it's actually like, okay, yeah, I need to train. I need to eat my meals. I need to like bulk up, bro. But they don't actually like tie in sleep to that because they're just like not really aware of the thing. So that's one reason. Like I think a lot of people, if they realize that sleep deprivation increases your risk of dementia by 33%, they would be way more likely to take it more seriously. I think it's also because like you don't see the immediate you don't you do see it and you don't, right? Yeah, low energy, I feel groggy, I feel tired, but anyone could push through that. They don't like put two and two together to realize that, oh, okay, like I'm not building not as much muscle. Oh, it must be my training, it must be my nutrition. I don't think people actually put that with sleep, and they just then increase food or increase training volume without like fixing the issue, which the reason you're not building muscle isn't because you need more volume, it's because you're not recovering from said volume. Um, so awareness is one of them. I think we're in a day and age where we're conditioned to sleep poorly. You know, people like work schedules and like stimulus and, quick dopamine, they are all things that like the modern day is just not like conditioned for sleep.
A lot of
Now,
distractions, right?
exactly, right? And people will, again, like we spoke about earlier, people always look for quick fixes. So they always want to your body's always going to go to the easiest form of dopamine, which is going to be your phone or the TV, right? So I think people get caught up into and they don't even realize this, but subconsciously they're like, okay, rather than like prioritize my goals right now and invest into my sleep so I'm better, I'm going to subconsciously, because they're not aware of it, scroll on my phone, do this, do X, Y, and Z, because like that's the thing that I want to do in that moment of time. But they're not like tying that together with the future version of themselves that they want to be. Now, also, some people are aware, but they have slept poorly for such a long period of time, it's now part of their identity. If you hear someone say, I'm just a poor sleeper, it's bad because they've started associating themselves with being a poor sleeper, so it's going to be really hard for them to fix it unless they change their mindset around that. Another thing is just like knowing what to do and what the effect is, but just like I think people get caught up to the fact they just don't think that they can fix it because it's been so long. You can
Mm.
fix it. It's just about like stimulus control. So what are you actually putting into your brain? What's your environment like? And like looking at the actions that you're doing around that, like are the things that you're doing supporting sleep or taking away from it? Because once you know that, you can then reverse engineer and then do something like a technique that's actually going to help with sleep, or do the habits that's going to align with that. Um, and then I think also just like the mindset of wanting to work harder. So like business owners, for example, always wanting to do more, you know, push work late into the evening, get X, Y, and Z done. But then it's like, okay, your product, especially if you're a non coach, okay, your productivity in the next day is going to be worse. So your marketing, your coaching ability is going to be worse. But then also like your own training is going to suffer, and you know that. So coaches know that, but then they'll still sometimes choose work. So.
Yeah, because I've had multiple people come to me before, clients that have come to me before and just said like, "Oh, I just sleep better when I don't sleep that much," or like I can survive on 5 or 6 hours. What would you say to that?
So you can definitely survive, but even if you feel like your brain's very good at functioning because it can survive, doesn't mean that you're performing optimally, right? Doesn't mean that your brain hasn't washed out the waste products that's accumulated in that day. It doesn't mean that people have a misconception. They're like, oh yeah, I perform fine. You don't know what you could perform like if you actually slept enough. You don't know how much more muscle you'd get. You don't know how much better and more driven you'd feel because you have just convinced yourself that you're fine. You're doing all right. You can push through 5, 6 hours normal for you. Go and search right now. Go on ChatGPT. Ask what are the five most serious impacts of poor sleep or 5, 6 hours sleep. It will give you five extremely detrimental things. Okay, you're at increased risk of heart attack or stroke. Okay, you're at increased risk of dementia. Okay, you're going to build like I don't know 30% less muscle than you could have. Like okay, there's like a case for every single point that for business, right? For actually performing your best and being productive and mentally focused and switched on. For training, make sure that you can actually like push yourself hard but then recover. For being like emotionally resilient and not like losing your head every 5 minutes. Sleep, like all these things that you're like, all the negative things that you're doing in the day that like, you're just kind of normalized could like, quite often be fixed by just like prioritizing sleep.
Yeah, so there could be quite a big link there between the things that you just think are they're just you. This is just who I am. This is just what I do, right? It's actually not. It's a coping mechanism or way that you're dealing with the lack of sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I think people get set in their own ways and their own routines on how they've done things. So then they like justify it that it's fine. And obviously it's not because it's like having an impact on you. Um, but oftentimes like it's not the impact that you're noticing isn't bad enough for you to go and fix it, but like it is accumulating. Like
Mm.
when I was sleeping awful because I have sleep apnea and I was stopping breathing 30 times an hour, I would do anything to sleep better because it was having such a deteriorous impact on my health and like how I felt. Like wake up feeling like a zombie, unable to like do the stuff that I wanted to do because I just felt awful 24/7. So for me, I was in enough pain to where I was like, I need this fixed. So I got a CPAP machine and got it fixed, right? A lot when people don't have sleep apnea, but they have a sleep issue, they don't know what can be done. Um, or they have just like because it's been going on for so long, they've normalized it. So
Yeah.
then they never actually try and change that thing because you get stuck into the pattern that you've been in for like many years. Like if you do a squat right and you've been doing it a certain way for a long period of time and then you try and fix that thing, it's going to take a bit of time before it actually fixes because you've learned that movement pattern that way. It will change, but you just need to kind of give it time and be committed to changing it, and then you can do it.
Mm. Yeah, I suppose it's like building like a routine, right? Like a structure. A lot of people try to, and this is probably a good segue to the next part I was thinking, is that like when they try to fix everything all at once and then they say it can't do it or it doesn't work, and it's just like, well, no, you need to like change a couple of things at a time. Like any good coach will be like, cool, change these three things, maybe four things, like max. Go away, do that, and then come back, and then we'll reset again. It's the
Yeah.
reason why a lot of people when they enter any kind of like diet phase, whatever, and they said, that's it. I'm not going to eat any chocolate, crisp, fizzy drinks, alcohol. I'm going to eat clean, whatever the fuck that means, right? And and I'm going to go to bed at this time. You know what I mean? Like you could already see it. And I'm going to train 3 times a week and do cardio. Like, you start mounting these things up. Like, so if you were, let's say if you're sleeping poor right now, okay, what would be the first couple of things that you would look to do or change? Now, I know that's quite generic and it's contextualized to each individual, but what are some of the most helpful tips or things you've seen help people get their sleep into a better spot? Like 3, 5 things max.
Yeah, I want to say that, like, yeah, if you throw the kitchen sink at it, it's going to be worse because you're putting pressure on yourself to sleep, and sleep only happens in a state of relaxation. And yeah, you're just not going to stick to those things, like you said. So, like, trying to do like 10 different sleep hacks that you've seen online is just not going to work for you. Now, the number one thing that you can do, as mentioned earlier, is like keeping your wake time consistent because that's going to set you up to actually be sleepy in the evening so that you can actually get sleep rather than like just lying there. If you try and force the bedtime first, that's backwards. You want to anchor the wake time first, and then you actually get sleepy at a time that is right for you to go to sleep, and then you can actually get good sleep and not be lying there awake. So consistent wake time. The other thing is having some sort of relaxing routine. Like I'm not going to tell you to journal, read a book. I'm not going to tell you to listen to a podcast because it has to be specific for you. Now, some
Mm.
people read a book, they get so into it that then they can't sleep because they just think about the book. Other people, it's really good and they read like 1 or 2 pages, they feel sleepy and then they can like just not be knocked out, right? So it really depends on like your specific thing that well, what actually helps you wind down. Is it listening to an audiobook? Is it knitting? Is it reading a book? Like, is it breath work? Is it meditation? What's the thing that you know that if you do, you'll unwind? And how can you implement that? Like, what's the one thing that you could change in the evening that would improve your sleep? That you could do that you could change that's a positive, and what's the one thing that you could do that take away that's a negative, right? So if you're always like having a phone argument with your like, I don't know, someone that you is a mutual friend and you had got into an argument, then you ring them like before bed. Okay, like let's stop that then, right? Like, or you're on your phone and you know that when you're on your phone you sleep worse, or you know that if you eat like a massive meal like 20 minutes before bed you're gonna sleep worse. Like, what's the one negative thing that you know is having an impact on your sleep that you can take out? What's a positive thing that you can do even in the evening that will help you relax? And then what's the time you can actually realistically wake up that you can keep consistent like every single day? Um, I said there are 3 things that you could look at that can instantly like improve your sleep in like a week.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So yeah, so a really good point there is like not only looking at what to change for the positive, but what's actually having a negative influence as well, and trying to change that because you're already doing that as well,
Yeah.
which is a really good point. Two things that I think of off of that. One, all right, what do you think of naps? Because I know there's a few people around that, and I know you'll have an opinion on that, right? And number two, if you work a job like we talked about nowadays, that people are busy, people do have different jobs, but they still want to build muscle, but they have inconsistent sleep times. Let's say they work on rotating shifts, like late, early, things of that nature. What would be your advice to that person?
Yeah, good questions. I'll start with the inconsistent shift worker, or the person that has like different shifts. So the key thing you're gonna want to do, right, is like you just need to like really nail down your environment. Like in order for you to get good sleep, your environment needs to be as dark as you possibly can get it. So whether you use like blackout blinds, which I've actually got behind me now, or use a sleep mask, you need to make your room as humanly possibly like dark as you humanly possibly can. Because if you're going to bed in the daytime, again, that's a signal for your body to be awake, right? So you're like you need to flip things. So you need to try and promote as much darkness as you can, which means making the room as pitch black as you can get it. Also, you want it to be cool. So if you've got a fan or crack your window open slightly, just make it so that your body temperature can actually cool down so you can fall asleep. And then minimize noise, right? Like minimize noise, minimize inputs, minimize distractions. If you need to use earplugs, there's Loop Dream earplugs that are super beneficial, but you just need to basically promote an environment that is as noise-free as you can get it, as dark as you can get it, and as cool as you can get it. You're basically mimicking like what a cave would be back in prehistoric times. So that's where we used to sleep. So you basically just need to go like full into your environment, and that's going to be the thing that actually helps you to sleep when you can, right? Um, Depending on what your schedule is. What was the other question?
Naps.
Naps. Naps, 20 minutes. 20-minute naps. That's enough to get a little bit of sleep that will help you to feel a little bit more energized and refreshed and restored without getting into deeper stages of sleep, which if you wake out of those, you're going to feel groggy. And also, we spoke about sleep drive. So I said the longer you're awake for, the more tired you are in the evening. And the more of a need you have to sleep. If you get into a proper sleep, right? In the day, like sleep for 1, 2, 3 hours, you're not going to be able to sleep very well in the night because you've taken away some of that sleep drive that you had. So those sleep tokens that you were accumulating, you've spent some. So now you need to build all these sleep tokens back up before you can exchange them again for sleep. So napping is I'd avoid unless you're just doing a 20-minute nap.
I heard that around 19 to 22 minutes is probably like considered, depending on the person, quite a good time to do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, 20 minutes. There's actually a study that showed ingesting caffeine before having a nap so that when they wake up, they're even more alert. They've had the naps help them restore themselves. Yeah, it was when I was at uni, one of the lecturers actually, it was her study. She did it and she told us about it. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, so it's
That's
tactics you
like optimalization of there of like
literally the
consume
max.
caffeine 20 minute and then both hit your gym session as hard as you can, like it's your pre-workout routine. Yeah, maybe we could set a timer so that 20 minute like Slipknot comes on at the right time, and then you're like, yeah, ultimate optimization of hypertrophy. I'm ready.
Then you are super ready to send it then, aren't you? Like
You know what I mean?
you may as well do it like you may as well, right? Get on a bench, um, ingest caffeine, have a nap, get that time released music, right? That Slipknot, and then as soon as you wake, you just get into like 1 RM, 200 kilogram bench, send it, and that
That reminds me of the videos you would see of the powerlifters get a blanket and put themselves
oh
onto
yeah,
the
yeah,
bench press because they're there for so long, right? Just wash blanket off and straight into 1 rep max, like
tactical pre-gym nap, mate.
tactical indeed, man.
Anabolic.
Um, I definitely think that sleep is something that's hugely overlooked, and environment as well is such a big thing when we're trying to go to bed, and we see that there is that constant distraction, especially for guys that are looking to put guys or girls, to be fair, looking to push their career. I've had people. I'm like, you need to set boundaries. You need to make sure you shut the laptop at like
Mm.
9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. If you're up at 6 o'clock, you need to go to bed. Like start doing that wind down routine. I refer to it almost as like sleep hygiene, I think is the kind of buzzword around this at the
Mm.
moment. What would you say if you're looking to obviously try and build muscle, if you're looking to bodybuild, like I want to say, how important do you think this is to be getting absolutely spot on and right? And like from an aspect of muscle building, how integral is it to make sure that this is taken care of as best as possible and prioritized as best as possible?
I think aside from steroids, it's the most important thing that you can like. It's the most beneficial. Actually, it is the most. It's take steroids out of the equation. I'd say it is the most ROI thing. Because like you've seen people that are enhanced that look like shit because they just don't like do anything else right. Right? Their bodies are messed. Like the most responsive body that's going to grow and lose fat easily and build a lot of muscle is one that's responsive and healthy. Sleep is the most important factor when it comes to keeping your body healthy. So if you're neglecting sleep, you are neglecting the physique that you want because you're just leaving easy gains on the table. And not only that, you're leaving like you're just operating at a suboptimal level than what you could be, right? So it can't be an afterthought. Like it needs to be up there with training and nutrition. Like honestly, if I had to put like a tier list on it when it comes to actually building muscle, I would put training first because if you don't train, you're not getting any stimulus. I would put sleep because if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering from said training, and you're not like you don't have enough testosterone, you don't have enough like drive to train anyway. And then third, I put nutrition because you obviously need to promote anabolic signaling. That's how I like, and most people just focus on training and nutrition, so you're never actually targeting the one that's like second most important, which is sleep. So
Mm.
it's really hard for me to put a number on it, but I'm sure there are studies that probably say that people that sleep versus don't sleep, you probably get like at least an extra 50% gains. Like I'm so certain there will be studies on that that have some sort of thing like that. Um,
Mm. Especially around lean body mass, right? There'll probably be some quite interesting studies done on even a fairly short period of time as well, because obviously long-term sleep studies are quite, I say, a little bit rarer, because
yeah.
obviously they're more expensive. They take obviously a lot more factors into consideration as well. But when we're looking at that, I see a lot of young guys, especially, neglecting their sleep. You like, well, what about like the effects of alcohol on sleep, for example, especially for the younger guys out there? They might be out trying to build muscle, but they like to be social. They like to have a drink. What are the effects on something like that? Because we see a lot of young guys trying to want to, maybe not so much today or these days, but I've had my personal experience where they have struggled with alcohol consumption and they're still trying to build muscle. How does that affect sleep?
Yeah, so alcohol's a sedative, right? So it's going to help you fall asleep quicker. Um, so you actually get more deep sleep at the first start of the night. So actually, like at the start, it's great. So everyone should drink alcohol to get better sleep. But no, the detrimental effects come later on because then your sleep starts becoming more broken, um, and more disrupted. You start getting less REM sleep, so it's detrimental for your sleep overall. Even if you do feel it helps you fall asleep quicker, which is like half the hangover, right? It's just actually the fact that you slept so poorly, your sleep quality's been in the bin. So the reason why you feel so tired and like so groggy isn't just because your body's metabolizing alcohol still, which is obviously very inefficient at doing. It's because you've had such a poor night's sleep. Alcohol as well also relaxes your airways more. So everybody has there's a normal threshold to where you can stop breathing in the night, right? So it's like if you stop breathing 5 times an hour, like less than 5 times an hour, it's very normal. When you drink alcohol, it's a sedative. It helps, it relaxes everything, and including your airways. So when your airways relax further than what they're already relaxing, it can cause you to get airway obstruction, or basically make it harder for you to breathe and cause you to hold your breath more, which can then disrupt your sleep further. So people that have like mild sleep apnea, they have alcohol, it makes it a lot worse because they've already got airways that are closing up for the night, but this is making that even worse. And sleep apnea is super common, by the way. So yeah, like a lot of people actually do have it, and this can exacerbate it.
Interesting. How common is it?
Uh, that's a good question. It's I'd have to look at figures on it, but it's extremely common. Um, really hard to say, but the thing is, like, it's common, but not a lot of people know they have it because they just associate the symptoms with like other stuff, like
Mm.
the tiredness, the snoring. If you like if your partner says that you ever stop breathing in your sleep, or that you're gasping in the night, or that you have like super loud snoring, and you feel then groggy in the morning, you have headaches, you find that you can't really focus, you get brain fog, that could be sleep apnea. Because it is really common. It's just like not like the most well known about thing.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point there because I definitely know when I was a lot heavier, when I was 136 kg, and and I'm like 107 now, and that's like heavy for me, like coming off of like a good kind of year of bulking, bringing it back down again bit by bit.
Mm.
Is that I had heavy snoring and that I definitely felt that I had some of that brain fog and I definitely
Yeah.
had like breathing issues, and now when I'm a lot lighter and healthier and stronger, is that now I don't have those issues anywhere near as much. So that could have been potentially something like that creeping in to it. And if we had to try and say to solve that, what are some of the good ways to if you do think you have that, what would you do?
Yeah, good question. So first, if you want to ask, like, if you've got a partner, like, if they've ever heard you stop breathing or like snoring or really loud or that sort of thing, so you can get an idea. And
Could you
obviously,
record it? If you're by yourself, could you
yeah,
record it?
yeah, you can record it. Like, there's recording apps like Sleep Cycle records your snoring, and there will be
Yeah, use
other
that.
like other ones that you can listen to. Like mine was awful when I got it recorded. Yeah, really bad. And I think
Did you
I just had
speak
a
in your
little,
night? Did you sleep?
huh?
Sleep talk? Do you sleep
Sleep?
talk?
No, 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 no. No,
I,
actually,
I,
I did a little bit. I remember hearing some stupidness actually, but it was mainly like
yeah,
the snort.
I had it where my sleep cycle would pick up my missus sleep talking, and that was interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. She probably denies it, right?
No, no, it was very clear it was her. And it was recorded in black and white. Yeah.
That's funny. I haven't like listened to it in a while because obviously like I don't have it anymore. But I do remember I used to sleep talk a little bit, but it was mainly like snoring was off the charts, mate. Um,
Mm.
yeah, just to go back to your question, I think it's like 10 to 15% of the population have sleep apnea, but it's
Oh wow.
undiagnosed. The prevalence is high, but like not a lot of people get it treated because they don't know they have it.
Mm.
Um, so symptoms is the first thing. Now, there's something called an Epworth sleepiness score, which basically grades like your likelihood of sleeping in certain situations throughout the day. I don't like it personally because like you can be tired without being sleepy. Sleepy is the fact that you fall asleep in the day. Tiredness, the fact that you just like feel awful, which is what I had. Um, but if you want to like actually assess your risk, you just be like, okay, the best thing to do is actually like listen to how your breathing is at night, also like how are you feeling. Um, BMI is a big one, right? Like sleep apnea is like heavily correlated to BMI. Like I said, when you're heavier,
Mm.
you get more snoring. You can have like sleep apnea and get rid of it by losing weight. Um, and if weight loss doesn't do the trick, it can be genetic. It can be the size of your airways. It can be like how big your tongue is. It can be like your tonsils. It can be your face shape, but it can also be weight related. It can be your neck circumference as well. So if you lose weight and it doesn't go, or you're predisposed to it, which I'm pretty sure I am. Um, then a CPAP machine, which pushes air down your airways to keep them open, is the gold standard treatment. But you can also get like gum shields that bring your lower jaw forwards to keep your airway open, but it depends on the person and if that would
Mm.
actually be effective for them.
Yeah, interesting, man. Really interesting. I was going to ask you a question for myself. Like, if you see things like resting heart rate, like should that be at a certain level during the night? Because you'll see that iPhones and Apple Watches and things of that nature come up with kind of alerts. And I know that people have asked me about this in the past, and I've kind of like, well, I don't really know if that's anything to really worry about, or if you should be concerned about that or not, or if there is something that if you did see, maybe you started to record your sleep, that you would be worried about, or be like, oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I think we have to like take into account for, Apple Watch's devices or like anything used to track your sleep isn't 100% accurate. So it can be picking up fluctuations that may not necessarily be happening. But at the same time, that said, if you have constant like heart rate spikes, that can essentially show that your oxygen levels are dropping in the night. So obviously, if your oxygen levels drop because you're stopping breathing, you're not getting air in, the oxygen levels in your blood are going to drop. And if your oxygen levels drop, your heart's going to work harder to try and get, more blood around your body to oxygenate your organs and what needs to oxygenate. So we often see when oxygen levels drop on sleep studies, so we record it, we can see the heart rate also spikes at the same time because they're correlated, right? Um, so it can definitely be like looked into. I wouldn't say that like using your device is the be all and end all. However, like sleep cycle for me told me to go and like said that I had breathing disruptions, so that actually prompted me to get tested. So people often say like, oh, clinicians anyway, like in the sleep space, so oh yeah, you shouldn't use this, that, or the other to like diagnose. No, you shouldn't. But like if it's just, it could be a screening tool to help someone go and get like um tested and treated the proper way so they can actually see if they've got an issue that needs to be solved here.
Especially when we think about like masses, right? When we think about what's available to most people that does not cost a lot that you can start doing to bring awareness to your sleep.
100%. Yeah. It's low friction, right? And if it then helps like 1 out of 10 people go and get a sleep study, and then like half those people that get sleep study get diagnosed, that's going to save a lot of lives. It's going to save a lot of lives, and also it's going to save a lot of money from the NHS because one of the big things about sleep apnea and having it untreated is like road accidents. So way more road accidents occur. Also, people's quality of life reduces. Also, like treatments needed for like diabetes and that sort of thing increases, and like for hypertension, high blood pressure, all of those things increase when sleep apnea goes on for too long. So getting these people treated not only saves like the NHS money, but it also like improves people's quality of life.
That's a really good point there, Chester. Like although you think of this potentially not as the root cause, but there's a reason why you're consistently trying to get sugary snacks in all the time, right? There's a
Yeah.
reason why that then leads to insulin resistance. There's a reason why you then start feeling like crap, and no amount of food, pills, supplements, energy drinks, or dopamine hits are gonna solve that.
Mm. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, mate. Like there's no conversation because see, like caffeine makes you more alert, but it does not improve your brain function. Um, same with like any sort of like stimulant. Yes, you get like a short-term boost in like focus or like energy, but it doesn't mean that you're actually thinking better or making better decisions. That comes from getting better sleep.
Yeah, 100%. My understanding from caffeine, of the way it works, is that it blocks certain receptors for a time period, and you are basically borrowing time of like tiredness or hunger. And so then eventually, when that does lose its effectiveness, you have like a traffic jam that will come in and push through. And based on how much you utilize caffeine, based on the basis of the effectiveness of that receptor, and then eventually you become so used to it that it stopped kind of working as well.
You've described the afternoon slump or the 2 p.m. energy crash that so many people experience because they've slammed 400 milligrams of caffeine before midday. Now they get a knock on the door from the tiredness or the fatigue that they've accumulated that they've pushed back, and then it all hits them at once, and then they feel shocking. So yeah, that's where that stems from.
Yeah, very good, mate. Awesome. So I think that's a lovely segue there to go into a little bit about what you're planning for the future and where people can find you.
My plans for the future, I'm taking over the sleep space. Like I'm the guy to go to for sleep. And that is in relation to, you know, I work within coaching teams. I want to build that out. I want to work with many different coaching teams. I'm currently working with a few right now and basically just like help to stabilize, improve all of your athletes and your clients' sleep. So I want to take over and help as many people in this area as I can. And I just want to like put good education out there around sleep and how important it is and what you can actually do to improve it. So my plan of action is to be the biggest person in sleep for recovery, for muscle growth, for productivity, for focus. if you want to be able to maximize your potential with your physique, maximize your potential with your ability to work hard and be productive and be focused every single day. I want to be the person that is segueing into that and helping as many people as I can in this area. So my game is to take over. um, and I also do plan on continuing on with bodybuilding and making sure I put myself in uncomfortable situations to make my life hard, so that I can obviously continue to progress and adapt and constantly make myself better. In terms of where you can find me, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, all Chester Maglo. It's all the same everywhere.
Sweet, man. So what's the plan for yourself bodybuilding wise? Is there a goal for this year, next year? Like what are you in at the moment trying to work on?
Yeah, so this year, my life, business, and like building my coaching, sleep coaching up has been like so huge for me, to be honest. To where I will be honest, that for the first time in my life, bodybuilding has taken a bit of the back seat. So I had a bit of a conflict there, but I'm going to pull my finger back out, execute both to a high level because you can definitely do both, and then likely compete sometime 2027, 2028 once I've built a good amount more muscle and I would like to do classic physique. I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna change gyms. I'm just gonna reset everything, reset the foundations, the baselines, um, and then to kind of work that in and make sure that I'm executing at the level that I expect from myself. Um, because I have goals not only for like sleep coaching. The gym is what got me into everything. And I love training and building my physique, so I need to be kind of keeping that up because it is one of the foundations of my life. So yeah, build muscle for now, compete in the future once my physique's a lot better.
Awesome, man. Chester, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate all your insight, your knowledge, and hopefully people that were listening to this have found some great value. So until the next one, guys, peace out.